Hello, hi to everyone. In those days, as you know, we have to stay home, and this is a reason that from GrisArt we start this propose, or we try to make a little bit easier those days by creating issues or creating those small clips, small videos for you guys, Photoshop. Those clips contains, you will see some classes of how to use programs or how to use apps that comes or helps us with Photoshop. In GrisArt, we try to, or we hope that we could see as soon as possible all of our students or our teachers. But like I said, until we stayed home, we will try to make some small clips, small, let's say, classes, so you can be entertained at home and you can try to, for example, look forward or make some video and some practices, for example, of stuff that we already saw in classes, and also of stuff, new stuff, for example, that we didn't saw so well, or maybe we just skip it, but programs that all of us have at home, okay? So the first clip, the first video that we are going to propose you, it's a basic video of how to use Adobe Bridge that, like I said a few minutes ago, we didn't see it in class, but a lot of you use it. The majority of you have this program on the computer. So, like I said, this video would help you a little bit to go through as a photographer through the program, to know how to use it, how to manipulate, how to edit the information that we can, for example, upload, download, or go through the bridge. Next part, it's also a little bit of explanation of how about files, what kind of files we have, or what kind of files we can find as a photographers. And so also how to make this clarification, how to, for example, rename, how to, or try to avoid to have too many files of too many material in our computers. Okay, so let's start and let's see step by step what can we see, what can we use, and or what can we do with all those programs that not contain just Bridge, but Bridge, for example, it's a part of our workflow. No, it's a part of everything that, for example, we can do with our material. We don't have just Bridge. As we saw in the classes, we have the Bridge, which we will see today. We have Lightroom, and we have also Capture One. The main difference between those three programs is that the Bridge, it's a little bit more practical. It's also for the photographers, but it's a very quick way just to add images, just to rename them, to avoid to have thousands or hundreds and hundreds of files, because a lot of times it happens that we have images in our hard disk, we have images in our SD cards, and the problem is that there is so much material that we just we just save this material in one folder or in a few folders with the same name, or just change the data name. And at the end of the day, we have so many material, and when we have especially a client and we have to find quickly a specific image, it's impossible, because we spend so many time just to know or just to figure out where we save this kind of information. So Bridge helps us to qualify, to make some kind of qualification, to make some kind of order, editing order in our computer for ourselves to find easily all the information. Lightroom, it's similar to Bridge. It's like a halfway between Bridge and Photoshop, because it's also Lightroom. We can use it as a editorial program, but it's especially have this plus advantage that we can also not just edit, but also develop and retouch a little bit, or better to say, adjust a little bit the images, which Bridge don't have this option to adjust. But like I said, depending on what kind of work we are doing. For example, Bridge, it's very practical, it's very quick. Lightroom, it's more, for example, for, I don't know, photojournalism, or social photography, where we can also, a part of qualification or make this list of image and edit the image, we also want to adjust it a little bit. And then we have the capture one, which we use this year in Photoshop, and you know how to use it. You saw the classes, but it's more, for example, for professional photography. Not that Bridge and Lightroom are not for the professional photography, but capture one is editing and also the adjusting part, how to adjust the color range, and also a little bit of profiles and all those material for more commercial photography, like fashion photography, advertising, etc. Okay, so Bridge, any kind of files, video, photo, anything that we want to put in order, editing and rename. Lightroom, editing plus adjusting, so social photography, concert, photojournalism. And capture one, same thing, but more for fashion photography and advertising. Okay, all of those programs, of course, have to come from our camera, for example, or our system. And then we have those different ways. Now, like I said, Bridge, the only thing is that we need some add program like Camera Raw to develop this file, especially if you have a raw file. Don't worry about raw file, what about them, how we use them. We will explain this part in the next clip, in the next chapter. But Bridge, like I said, is just for editing. It's just to put the order in our system, in our computer. So we need an extra add, like it's Camera Raw, to develop all those raw files so we can read them, we can saw the correct image, and we can add, adjust the color balance, saturation, and all those information. Then from Camera we go through Photoshop and then save, send whatever we want through the disk to our system, to the client, or save it for ourselves. Lightroom, like I said, we can edit and adjust the image directly in the program. Then we can go through Photoshop to make more professional, more in detail the adjusting and retouching part. Same thing, save it and use it from our soft disk, hard disk, external disk, and then send it to client. And capture one, which is like Lightroom, it will be the majority part, we can do it with the program, and then some extra or more in detail material, we can adjust it in directly through the Photoshop. So let's start and let's see how the Bridge work, where to find it, how to use it. Like I said, step by step. I will really explain and try to make sense in the part of Bridge, Adobe Bridge, how to use it for the photographer, so for ourselves. Okay, so how to create the best options, how to use it correctly in the best way possible. Okay, so let's start. Where to find Bridge Adobe? I will just go where to find Bridge Adobe. So different ways to go through through our system is, for example, you can see my desktop. Is once we have the file, like I said, Adobe Bridge, it's very useful to edit. It's an editing program. Okay, so it's like Bridge, like the name say, to Photoshop. So through the Bridge, we first organize everything, and then we go through the part or to the system of retouching or do whatever we want with our image. So let's say, for example, as you can see, I have my hard disk connected to the computer, then I have some folders. I will show you, for example, the step before the Bridge. So for example, if I go inside my hard disk, we can see, for example, that I have different folders. So this is the first step. This is the first step, how to organize a little bit your material, okay, your folders, just in the best way possible to make sense, okay, to find them easily and not to lose, or even worse, not to duplicate the material, because a lot of time it happens that we don't know if you already copy, if we make the copy of the same file, so we just save it from the SD card, then save it from the hard disk, save it from the camera, and we just have the multiple copies of the same file, same photo. So it could become heavy, quite heavy for the computer. So let's say, for example, I have different basic folders that I use. This is like my family groups where I put the majority of stuff. Let's say, for example, if I go inside the nature, in any of those folders, I have the next subfolder will be the date. Okay, the date is by year in which the event in which I make, for example, some work for a client or your personal for myself. Then, for example, if I go inside 2016, I can see different, for example, different file with different modification dates. But here, for example, at least, for example, I can go step by step through the year, through the events, and find, for example, different information, different images. No, I have some JPEG files inside, and then I have all the original raw files, which we will speak about raw files, don't worry. Okay, so how to rename? As you know, we can download the image from the camera, then copy to the desktop, copy to our system, and by name rename it. No, so if I go inside, for example here, you can know that I can easily double click, put the name of the space, the year, the month, and the date. This is the order. This is my order, or an example of the order. The best way is that you choose your way of working, which helps you. But it's, for example, it's a way. But imagine that you have so many pictures and do it this one by one. It takes time. It doesn't make sense. So this is why we propose, or as a photographer, especially if you want to work, have clients who have a lot of material to work with, we need a system, we need a program that helps us to organize everything, make sense, make a quick selection, select, put a rating, put a label on all of those images that, for example, we can use. Maybe we can use it later. Maybe we have those that we are going to send to the client, those that we are saving just for us, and those that we are going to delete because we don't want them in our computer. So Bridge, I have it here on the dock. You can find it, as you know, as if you go directly to the application. In the application, we can go through the bridge, or like I said, on the dock. The bridge, you can download it from the internet. It's free, but for those who already have Photoshop, you know that it comes or it comes linked directly with Photoshop, so you already have it. Okay. Now, this is our panel, or this is the bridge panel, where everything basically happen, or where everything is going to happen. Like I said, I will go part from part, explain a little bit, for example, which or how to go from one part to another, how to rename, how to, for example, reorganize everything that we have on this panel. So let's go step by step, explain everything that we are looking at, and I will also put some example. Okay, so you can see how to work with, so you can really use it and make the best way possible through Bridge for your workflow and for have, for example, fun, not just fun, but also to make everything easier and quicker. Okay, so first thing, on the upper part we have the menu. You can see that it's very similar to the Photoshop. All the Adobe programs are basically the same, have the same design, have the same more or less output, so it means interface, more or less where we can find the preferences and all the material. So upper part, I would just, here I am, okay, it's the main menu. If I go inside Adobe, we will find the preferences, okay? Also, remember, we have the shortcuts. Here in the preferences, we can, for example, create a little bit our own design, just depending on the preferences of each and any one of you, how you want to use it. One that it's quite or could be quite useful is in the advanced option, which is the language, and also the language of the keyboard. Here we can change, okay? It's an option, for example, we can not find, or we don't have in Photoshop. There is just two options. We have Photoshop Spanish or English, depending on the version that you download. But here, for example, we have multiple options. This one depends if you have an English, Spanish, Russian, depending on the keyboards, it's up to you, okay? Remember, if I, for example, have a Spanish keyboard, if I switch it to the English, all the letters on my keyboard are going to change. So I would prefer to leave it in Spanish. So the A, B, C, D, it stay in the same order, in the same space. Cache size, same thing. Don't increase too much. So we don't increase too much the space on our system, on our computer. 100,000, it's quite good as a space to the maximum number of the cache that can be stored. We can go through, but something, for example, I was just explaining those essential part, okay, that could be very helpful and quite useful. It's the interface. We can change the background color, the color theme. This one comes by default, which I think it's the most soft for the eyes. It's, you remember, the gray color helps us to, for example, the eyes, when we are working so much with our computer, doesn't receive so much information, so we don't get so tired, okay, looking at the computer. Then also the text size, we can change it. It's up to you. You can check and see a little bit how it works. Keywords, which I will explain how to use it, what are the labels also, we will go through all those information. But here, for example, it's everything that you can find and change, check, or put in different, just in different order, just with different keywords, just with different shortcuts or colors, whatever you want when it's time. And then the menu, the upper part, which we are going to explain just in a little bit. So, like I said, perdona, Iván. 3, 2, 1, a partir de aquí, ¿vale? Pausa y vamos. So, apart from the menu, we can see that we have all this interface panel or interface of Adobe Bridge, which we can prepare, make on a little bit however the outlook, however we want. I will go part by part, explain you a little bit what those panels are for, what those interfaces are for, how to use them, and how to, for example, go and switch from one to another. So on our left side, we have different panels. One, it's favorites, folders, content, filter, collection, as you can see, and the center or the right side, preview, publish, metadates, and keywords. What are all those stuffs and how to use them? Okay, first of all, as I explained, we can prepare, organize, bridge, the output, the look of the bridge, a little bit however you want. Here, in the middle part, you can see that we have different options. Yes, those options basically are for switch from one to another, a little bit the look, yeah, how we want to preview or how we want to see everything, the information that we have on our computer, the information that we are going to use, and the images, okay? Normally, by default, we use the basic one, or I use the basic one because I like the look, I like how it looks like, I like the flow, how to move from one interface or from one panel to another. And also, the essential one, it's, let's say, quite designed for photographers. If, for example, if you don't find a panel that appears now here on my desktop, we can always go to the upper menu, the main menu, Windows, like in Photoshop. If you remember, tools, Windows, where we have all the material, like tools, for example, it doesn't appear. And here we can find the panels and add them by clicking. We add, or for example, hide the panel. So in Windows, we can find everything. What I mean, or what it means that we can, for example, change a bit of the look or organize the look however we want. For example, if I go here in the middle, if I stay between one panel and another, see, I can resize. So these thumbnails can be bigger, smaller, depending on the space that I allows. No, also up, down. So I can design a little bit the space or reshape the space from one panel to another in order of how I prefer to preview the material, how I prefer to, for example, or just the workflow that I like most. Computer. This is the main part, okay, where all the material exists, or from all the material I can find, it will come from the computer, except if I connect directly the camera and I can download or get photos directly from the camera. But normally, in the majority of the cases, we use the hard disk, external hard disk, or directly SD card or everything we have saved on the computer to use it. So in favorite and folders, what's the difference? As the name says, folders are all those groups where we can find our material subfolders and stuff, and favorite, it's all our system. So everything that exists in our computer, Mac, PC, it doesn't matter. And of course, Bridge works for both Mac and PC the same way. The only thing that changed a little bit is the keyboards, but the rest, the looks, the output, the workflow, it's exactly the same. So favorite and folders, it's up to you which one you prefer to use. I normally go with favorites because I have a little bit more information. If you want to be specific and just use the let's say material that it's more on escritorio, it's desktop in Spanish, on your desktop you can go folders and have less material. But here, like I said, if you have something in iCloud, or if you have something hide it, for example, from other systems, here you will find. Okay, so it's up to you. Content, it's specifically where I am. For example, if I go to the desktop, I can see, okay, the material that appears on my desktop. If I go on my system, it's all the folders that I have on my system. No? Same thing happen if I go here. If I go, you see, here it's more, a little bit more inside, more specific, all the material on my computer and on my desktop. Okay, so up to you. If I need, for example, if I connect a hard disk, which is connected to my computer, I will find it here. You see, in my case, I will just move a little bit. I have 2 hard disks connected, so I can see I can preview him easily on the computer side. Which also means that if I go, for example, inside a folder, you see, I have all my folders and all the information inside. If I needed a bigger preview, I will just resize and make it bigger. So, like I said, up to you, right? Perfect. What next? Also here on the panel, yeah, on the path, which the path menu, I can go back just by clicking, you see, and go on the main part of the folder or the system where I have all the information. It's also a way of how to follow, or for example, if I am in a specific area, I can easily see the origin, the root, okay, from where I'm coming from. So if I'm looking for a specific file, it's a little bit by the path menu. It's easily to go back or just to find the region, no? So it's easy to find where it's saved, or just directly go and pick it. Next, on the content, like I said, everything that appears, it will be here. And I can also choose how to see, how to preview. No, horizontal, vertical, or auto layout. Auto layout is just based on, depending the space that I allows or the space that I leave, it will have more or less information. And another thing here, down on the lower part, here I am, you can see that I can change the size of those thumbnails. So it could be bigger, smaller, it's up to you. Normally I leave a smaller size because it's my material. I know more or less the folders that exist or the files that I have. So just look the small information, the small name, it's easy to find it. Then we have the filters, which is very helpful. If it doesn't appear, same thing. Please go on Windows and connect the panel. We will go through them. I will explain what I'm here now. What's all this information about? But like I said, very helpful panel, very helpful tool, which will help us quite a lot when we start with the editing, where we start organize everything with our images, with our photos. The preview is where we click. When we click a specific file, you see it appears bigger. No, folders normally appears even smaller. It's like a small thumbnail, so it's more preview minimized. Images, you will see, will be a full screen, bigger size tool. Then we have keywords, specific names or specific words that we add link to the file to easily find it, and metadates, very helpful, very detail or with specific information, metadates of the file, everything. It's what's about the photos, when it was taken, or video, because Bridge is also for video, when it was taken, copyrights information, labels, rating, whatever you want, it will appear in metadates. Yeah, perfect. So let's start. Let's see how we can import, or how can we open files. Because like I said, all the design of the Adobe family, it's quite the same, even if it's Adobe Bridge, Lightroom, same thing, Photoshop, more or less every option appears in the same menu. Files, you see, you can find more or less the same design as a Photoshop. And also it's a very quick launch to the Photoshop, so we can go directly from one image to the Photoshop, or to all the other systems that we have to editing and retouching images. But for example, an option is we can open images, the recent one or new one, by file, or the best way is through our system. So if we go through, or to find, for example, or to import the files that we want to check and want to see, I will just choose, in this case, I will show you two ways, okay? First of all, I will use some files which I want to rename. I want to select, and select means I want to rate them, to put labels, just to choose those that, for example, I will go to retouch, I will go maybe to send to client, and those, for example, I will save it or even delete it. So I will go inside my, sorry, just, it's, okay, here we are. Inside my hard disk, okay, and I will choose, for example, nature. Here I am. I will go in 2016, and let's say this one here, okay? So here, it's the way through my folder, the actual folder that I'm in, or here I can also see the step how to get it. Now, you can see that all this information are raw files. Yes, here are raw files, as CR2 is Canon raw file in this case, in this specific case. So what about those images? Now you can see that in this folder, as you can see in Finder, which I use at the beginning of the video, I have one JPEG images, and then all the rest is raw file. Some of those images, I will make it just a little bit bigger, so it will be easy to preview. Okay, perfect. Some of those images are without any labels or without any information, the name. Some have, for example, some extra information. This information you will see, or I will explain in the next class, it means that the image is already adjusted a little bit or developed, okay? It may mean that have some adjustments done in Camera Raw, or for example in Lightroom, which comes with this level. If I double click, I open in Camera Raw. Like I said, we will go through also Camera Raw, and I can see the adjustment. But this means that, as you know, we never lose the information of the original RAW, which is good, no? So we can, even if this is make some modification, I can also always go back and get the original file that came from the camera. So step by step, if I click on one image, for example, I just make it smaller so it's better to see. like this. You see, here I have the big preview, yeah? And this preview, same thing. I can change the panel, the size, however I want. I can also, for example, switch, put it down, or as it appears in blue, I can put it back. Publish, you just could go through other Adobe programs, which are more helpful, for example, Portfolio or Contributor, just to create, for example, like smart books to use it as a publisher, or just to preview if you want to send it to a client. I'll just go back. Oh, okay, here we are. Preview. In the preview, I have different options. For example, metadates. As I say, metadates, very helpful. I can find, because it's a raw file and all the information comes with raw file, I can find everything that goes about this image. The aperture, the speed, the ISO that was used, the size, the original size, RGB, so the space that was used. Plus, for example, here, I will show you, this is a very important part, more specific, or the properties of the file, which is the file name. I can change the original file name that comes with the camera, type camera raw image, which means that it could go with the program to develop, because it's a raw file, the date when it was created, the full size, dimension, means pixels, dip, which comes with the camera, and also I have a few different options. I will just close it so we can see it all. If we get video, we have information of the video. We have audio, there will be information of the audio. But one of very important is this one here, creator. It comes with my name because in my camera, for example, I already have the copyright. So inside of my camera, I can copyright and put my name. So automatically when I download it or upload it to the computer, the image, the raw file, it automatically claims that I'm the photographer. But we can change, okay? You can change this information. So in case that it's a project or a job title, you can, the job, the address, country, whatever you want. And some, if you want to change a specific, or for example, specific information, you can go through and see everything we can find. But I will focus now on this part here, which is quite helpful, okay, to use. One, it's copyright status. We can change unknown. It means that we known, we want just to leave it as it is without any label. Copyright permission. And also, for example, I don't know, if we want to be more specific and put our names with copyright, we can go also edit. I will just go on again. If we put option and C, we have the copyright symbol, and I can put my name. This information will go, for example, whenever you save the image, you send it anywhere, even if you open in Photoshop, in the Photoshop file information, you will always find who is the creator or the owner, no, of the image. So it's quite good to write it down in Photoshop, in Bridge, and then have it for all the images. You cannot put these labels or this information just image by image, one by one. You can select, for example, I would just deny it. You can select all of them or a few of them, however you want, for example, like this, yeah, like this. Or if you remember, like any file, Command A, yeah, I'll just click this one. And you can, for example, put the name and copyright to all of them just in one click. So like this. And once it's done, for example, when I want to click, it asks you if you want to change everything. Yes, apply. Now, if I go image by image, you can see that automatically it applies to everyone. So very helpful way to go through and just to put this extra information. But like I said, metadates, it means what exists inside, or just the file information. And also a quick way just to remind you what aperture, ISO, what speed you use with the camera. Then another thing that I want to show you, very helpful for organize our workflow, it's the label. Yeah? Bridge have an option that we, for example, can preview material files and make a list or make a rating of, let's say, those that we are going to use for our work, for clients, or whatever it is. So if we go here on the menu, upper menu on labels, yeah, we can find that we have the rating option, which comes with stars, or labels that are colors. If you remember this option, it's also here in the preferences. We can change the colors. We can change, for example, the shortcuts with our keyboards. On the right side, like any information in Mac, comes the shortcuts. Okay, so very helpful, very quick. Once we link, or once we know which shortcuts goes with the color to use, how to work, how to use them. We open in our content, in our content panel, the material that we have, and then, for example, let's say that I want to first of all select the images, those images that I'm going to later on develop, and because it's a raw file, I have to develop and adjust or even retouch, and then I will upload, let's say, for my website. I have a lot of images, so one way to preview them is I click on the first one, yeah, and then I can scroll one by one with my keyboard. Yes, so this way it's easy in this case, because if we check, I have just 64 items. Yeah, this is also the option how to preview them, with a smaller thumbnails with information, medium, or even individual. It's up to you which one you want to select. So for example, I click on the first one. Here, sorry, labels, you have the shortcut. By the keyboards, you have an option to put the stars. You see, here they are. Or I can also delete the stars, 0. Or go with Command 3, for example, Command 4, and the stars appears on the image that you select. You can select, for example, with Command A. Sorry, too quick. Sorry. With Command A, you can select all of them, yes. And if we press Command 3, you see on all of those images, we put the rating of 3 stars. If I want to delete, hide, or just remove the stars, I press Command 3 once again, so the same amount of the stars that I put. So Command 3, it's to rating, and Command 3, it's also, for example, or Command 0, sorry, it's also to remove them. Automatically we remove. So stars is one way. Like I said, it's really up to you what you want to, how to want to register. Personally, I prefer labels with the color because it's more visual. It's easier to select. So let's say that I want some more minimalistic nature photos, and I go just one by one. Okay, like I said, there are 64, but there could be thousands of images. I will take time and go one by one. So once, let's say I like this one, I want to retouch later on, I will press Command 6, and you see a red color appears, right? Then I will scroll, and also here I have the information that I put the label, so I select this image here, so then I go through, so let's say Command 6 on this one here, this one, why not? Which one, for example, and I will just select this one here, so more or less they will be the same, and I can also, for example, pick a different ones, those 3, and put Command 6, and automatically I have the labels on. Let's say also this one, because I just leave it out, and I have different image selection with different labels. For example, here they are. Perfect. Horizontal, for example, smaller view, maybe it will be easier to preview, and we can scroll and see the information. In this case, I put vertical because it's easier to just to check them and find them. Yeah, perfect. Metadates, of course, remember, appears just on image by image. If I select all of them, will not appear because it's a singular information. So this is one way. Let's say I put a red label on those images that I want to retouch. Yeah. Then, for example, I will choose a yellow label for those images that I want just to edit, or maybe later on because I like it, I didn't want to delete them, and I will label them, mark them with a different color. So so those kind of colors, even if they comes with the name selection, second, approve, etc., you can really select and choose by your own. So which one you prefer. I normally, like I said, red colors prefer to those images I want to retouch and upload to the website, and yellow for those that I don't want to delete, I don't want to miss. Maybe in the future I will reuse them, or maybe anyway, I just don't want to lose them, but yet I don't want to retouch it at the moment. So once we have the label, same thing. I can select once again the red color. Let's say that I choose this one, but second look, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure about it. Command 6, same color, and the color disappear. So it's still here, but just it's not selected. Yes, I just unselect the option. Perfect. Another thing that goes with preview and the selection that could help you, it's, for example, to make a bigger screen. If I press space, yeah, with the space option, you have the full screen. Once again, space, it comes with the interface panel. Or I can also go with space as full screen with the zoom, with the loop tool on the image. With the loop tool, it helps me, you see, to go through all the parts and see in detail. For example, it's if the image is in focus, maybe because I like this one, I selected, I put red, but I'm not sure if I have enough zoom, if I have enough focus. So with the loop, I can check how it looks like. Even if there appears some aberration, I can check it from closer point of view. I like it, perfect. I will close the loop, and here it is. It just, like I said, it always appears, it's automatic. It always appears directly on the image. Perfect. But let's say that we have thousands and thousands of photos, okay, a lot of images. It will be very difficult to go one by one by roller and check where they are, what label they have, and where to find or how to select them. So this is when the filter options came to help us. Here, for example, in filter option, you see you have quite a lot of choice, or quite a lot of helps tools that will help you to select, or just like the name saying, to filter the image. I put labels. If I go inside the labels, I can see that I have different options. I have no labels, selection, secondary, and some labels, for example, that I have from previous selection. The red ones that I just select for editing, if I click, I can see now that only the 7, here's the number, images that I select appears. The other one are still on the panel, but they are just hidden. If I want to preview them or see them, I just click on no label and all the rest will appear. If I unclick everything, I will have all the images. When I start to filter them, they will appear one by one. If I want just those two, that maybe I will save it for next time, or maybe I will edit next day, here they are. So all the colors, even no labels, here they are, those that I didn't select. For example, if I choose this one, and this one, and I put Command 8, the green color appears, and you see the pre-route. Here is the green color. So maybe they will be, I don't know, let's say for the client. So here they are for the client, and the selection for me. So here I have all the options. So this is also the easiest way. Let's say that I just need those two selected. Command A, I select both, and if I press Command 7, because it's yellow, they disappear. Disappeared means it disappeared from the panel, because now I have 0 yellow labels, 0 yellow selection, but they're still, you see, here in no labels options. So quite a nice thing. If you want, once again, to preview all the images, you have to unclick all the filters. Otherwise, no labels. It means that those that have color or even stars will not be seen. They're hidden. Now I can see all of them. But let's say that you don't have labels. Let's say that you have images, and I will show you later on a practice. You have images, all the ones from another folders or from many folders, and you really don't know how to choose them, but you know more or less the years that the images were taken. Here, the filters will help you. For example, data, the date where they are made. If I click the date, in this case, it's just one folder. It comes all of the images that were created on the same day. If I'm looking for a specific, for example, aperture or a specific focal length, here you have the information, you see, of the camera and also of the lenses. So let's say aperture. I want to select just those images that have 2.8. Here it is. And it doesn't matter, the label, without label, stars, rating, doesn't matter. All those images that have 2.8 of aperture will appear. Let's say that I want to select the images with aperture 4, yes? And a part of aperture 4, I want to select, I will just leave you, with this lens. It means if nothing changed, it means that all of those 4 images, yeah, have aperture 4 and the same lens. So like I said, another helpful way of, let's say you have portrait from 6 years ago, you don't know the exact place where were taken, date, year, but you more or less know that some of those were taken without or with quite a lot of aperture. Go by filter and you will find it. Or even something very helpful, serial number that comes with the camera. Once it's no, or here the majority, because they came from the same camera, here is the serial number. This is also helpful if you are working with 2 cameras. No, let's say you have 2 cameras and you want to select the images from one camera that will appear, and then you can select the other ones from the video. Same thing with the model of the camera, or for example, depth, same thing, camera, etc. So like I said, filter, very, very helpful. And keywords, it appears, which is part that I will explain you now, also with some words that we rank or that we put and link to the images. Another thing, for example, that it's a part for the filters, very helpful in Bridge, it's how to create batch options, or how to change name of our file, which I will show you in this step. And then for the final part, we will go to the practice, which I will open one new folder and show you a little bit all the steps just in what I went through that we saw until now. Plus, I will show you how to use the keywords for this final part. Let's say that the name, in my case, it's quite long. We might make it shorter. I just want to put, let's say, the place where the image were taken and the number, or the year and the number. In tools, we have the batch rename, very, very helpful. If I click on batch rename, it appears this window, this panel that shows us or helps us to rename completely our file. And this is the way where, for example, we can avoid to multiply the same name of the project, the same name of the file, and have copy of the copy of the copy of the copy. Yeah. So I will select Command A, all of them. Here they are. Yeah, perfect. I will go on Tools, Batch Rename, and I will go step by step to see. By default, preset, it means that it will maintain all the information that came, metadates and everything that goes with the image that I want to preserve, so we don't have to change. Destination, it's where we want to place it, when we want to save it. Rename in same folder, so we will not change the ubication, it will maintain in the same position. Move the other board or copy to another folder. Move, it means it will be removed from, in this case, my hard disk, and it will be replaced wherever I want to put it. Copy, it means it will maintain one copy in my hard disk, so the original one, plus the new one wherever I want. Rename in the same folder, I will, for example, leave it. I want to rename it. Or, even better, I will show you, sorry. Let's say I would want to create another copy. So this is my original place in my hard disk. And I will go on my desktop. I will create a new folder on my desktop. So I just changed the place. Now this is the part where we want to see our output or how the file name will looks like. In the preview, you will see in the direct time how it will appear. So text with the minus, it will be shorter. With the plus, I can add more information. So first of all, I want to choose the name, put the name. Here you can put the name, text, date, depending on whatever you want. So it will be a lot. The next part will be the name, the time. You see, it changed, no? Date time, date creation, today, yesterday, or the year, how we want to modify, how we want to put. So let's say it's today, you see, automatically change, and how you want to appear, how you want that it looks like, no, with month, date, year, or just the day, or just year, no, the last two numbers of the year, or the full number, 2020. Okay, perfect. And let's say metadata information, the aperture, if you want to. If you don't know, we can delete. If you ask, okay, but here it's automatically, it's the today date modify, we can use directly instead of day, we can choose text, yes, and wrote it down. So if the images was taken in 2016, I put 2016. So this is how it appears, yeah. And sorry, 2016, and I will put another, which will be, for example, sequence letter and 3 digits. I will put it on 2 digits, 0, 1, but I prefer that it appears like this, you see? So it will be year, or a place, year, and the number. If I put rename, check out here on this part, it takes time depending on how much information, how much file do you have. And perfect. They will be renamed. Another thing, I can go, like I said previously, once I have the selection done, one by one, yeah? If I click Command B, I have this slideshow preview of all of those images, okay? It's just to shortly show you how it looks like. And if I press escape, it go back. So space, it's a specific image that I'm looking at. Command B, it's the preview, like the slideshow of my images, which appears also with the loop that could allows me to click and check out more in detail my image and deselect. So by tool, I rename the name, and let's see how it looks like. This is still my file, so nothing changed. But if I go on my desktop, here is the file, the new file that I create, and you can see automatically all the images appears with 01, 02, 03, 04, etc., etc., or the batch rename that we just create. Now you can see that the filter, it's small, we don't have so much information. Why? It's just because not so much information appears in other images. I have, for example, the serial numbers, because it was in computer, so it was way more filter stuff. Here, it's just a specific one, but still enough. If I put something new like labels, also it appears, okay? So this is basically a little bit, for example, how to work, how to use it from the hard disk. Now, if it's okay for you, I hope so. Let's see, for example, what happened for this final final part of this bridge introduction clip, what it happened when we have a file full of different images from different places, from different timing, from different also cameras, how to organize them, how to select them, and how to use them. I'd also suggest you to use or to make a practice with your own images. Okay, select a folder and just, for example, go step by step in the same way that I will do it. I create this folder here and I put different images. There are JPEG, RAW files, with labels, without labels, from different places. So now to clean everything, I will do Command A and I will just click Command 6 once again. So I delete the label from all of them. So there is no label and I will start from 0. You see, I have JPEG, I have RAW files, I have a lot of stuff. I can go on file type and I can see that I have 6 RAW files and 34 JPEGs. So already the first filter, it's here, it's done. Now you can go and you can start by putting labels, putting ratings, so the stars, whatever you want. Now just to select, just to organize them. And what we want to do, I want, for example, to create different groups of this selection and replace it, because they were taken from different places and I just want to put in order in this folder and organize them a little bit. So we can do this everything from the bridge. First of all, how I move this image. I can press Command and click on to select and select. But for example, select different. I will select this one and this one. Yeah. And with Control click or red button on the mouse, we have this option here. In this option, you can move. So physically move from where it exists, where it is the image, to a new place, or copy. Copy, it means that you will still have on the hard disk and replace it to another place, wherever you want. Be very careful, because if you want to clean, if you want, for example, to make a fresh new clean on your hard disk, if you are copying, it could happen you have the copy of the copy of the copy of the file. If you move, be careful that you are not moving something that maybe, let's say that you have your work on your hard disk, you move it on the desktop. If you move around from home to work with your hard disk, those images are gone. They are just saved on the computer and they are not longer on your hard disk. So be careful. Here we have the recent folders, or we can choose, for example, if we are moving to another one, to a new one, the Finder file window will appear, and we can create new folder, put it on the desktop, whatever we want. Okay. So how to choose them or how to select? Let's say I will go, first of all, I will choose all of them. So camera raw and JPEG, and I will go, let's see, of date of creation. And I want to choose all of those that are from 2019. Here they are, perfect, nice. Now here are all the images. I could scroll them, very nice. What can I do with those images? I know that those images that came with the same date, more or less from the same place, here they are, the data information. I can rename, so Command A, I will go edit, create a name. And I will also put the copyright information on, remember, Option C, and here it is, the information, perfect. Now if I click, I apply, and the information is in all of them. Now I can go even more specific, and I can go with keywords. By default, you will find some groups or some information that already exists, like events, people, places. Here's places like cities, okay, and place like, for example, specific forests that I have. What are those keywords? These keywords helps you to quickly and easily find some information or some specific image that or groups of image that you create. For example, if I go inside the places, yeah, And with Control click, I will create new keyword. I will put this place is Cantabria, enter, and I click. Yeah, it means that I put this keyword on all of those images because they're all from the same place. Yeah, I can create, for example, a new, for example, more specific sun specific place, and for example, click just on Trigger and click this one, and you see on those images that I click, also both name appears. It helps you because once you want to choose, you want to find a specific file, you can go, for example, with the keywords, and it helps. If you have a lot of images, sometimes this part is not heavy, but it takes time. It seems like it's a little bit boring to put file name or keywords to all of those images. Remember, once you create a specific name, it will always appear here. It just as quickly as you import the file on your bridge, select them and click. It's a very quick, it takes 0 time, and normally it helps you, for example, to create groups that you normally use, like, I don't know, weddings or even subgroups you can create, no? For example, mountain, no? And I know that, for example, now in places, St. Vincent, it's a mountain and a specific view that I, for example, I will do this one. I will create the workflow of the keywords that I normally use, like mountain, landscape, something that it's goes with my kind of or my type of images that I normally take. And once again, very, very helpful to select and have all the information at the same place. If we go, for example, so here with the part, perfect. With the keyboards, once I have all the information that I have, remember, go here and just find. It appears all of the 6 information, or just the one that I just create or I just put in inside the information. What else? So for example, once I create this part here, yeah, I will just unclick everything. Okay, here it is. So here will appear. You can go with the labels, for example. Labels will be that the one, perfect. I will just check. Okay, I will just uncheck all of them, so I will have all the images. I can go with the labels, or even better, let's say that I want to remain some other places and put the keywords. So I will go here, this one, this one, you see here. I don't have any keywords, but I know that this image, this one, or I can also scroll down and go with shift until here. All of those images are from the same place. I'm from Japan. So I will command 6. I will put the label. I will go here now. I will check labels. I will go scroll down. Filters. Here are labels. Select. Here, perfect. They are on the same place. So I don't mix them with the other information. I will go places. Yeah. I will check Japan. Perfect. Here it is. Japan. Tokyo specifically. For example, there are places that normally some comes by default, but in this case it helps me because it's a place that I need. We need a new one to add. I will just go here. I'm here now, just to show you. Put plus, and for example, you can go with outside new group of keywords. Okay, if we don't want, if you go inside, and if this is not Tokyo, but like in this case, new keyword is Kyoto, I can go to Kyoto. Yeah, Kyoto, and rename or reuse it. Perfect. So I will select all of them. Yes, and I will click on all of them. If I want, for example, a part of Kyoto, create a new group and put faces, or for example, portrait, or for example, people and moments. Yes, here it is. I will also go this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and here it is. So now if I go one by one, you can see it'll be Tokyo, Tokyo, Tokyo. Here be people, moments, Tokyo, 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 Tokyo. So depending, for example, the information that you have, it will appear one or another. If I want to see it bigger, I will go like this. I will go here, preview, one by one, perfect. If I want to preview all of them, Command B, and here I have as a slideshow that works perfectly fine. Yeah. If I escape, you see the preview option. If I want to see, for example, just those images that I right now put the label, I will, for example, select, I will Command 6, Command A, all of them, Command 6, I will click the label. So here I have all the files, so JPEG, RAWs, anything. Keywords, I won't quickly find just those from Tokyo. Here they are, yeah? But in people, nothing changed because they are the same, but if I look in just people and moments, here they are, people and moments. So like I said, all of them or people and moments, perfect. Or Cantabria, here they are. Mountain, this one. So it's another sub-filter, very helpful. It takes time a little bit to create groups, to create specific keywords, key names that you normally use, that you normally go. Like I said, you can put Barcelona, skateboarding, culture, music, concert. Then in concert, you can put a specific groups, a specific artist and use it. But just create those that you normally use. And it's a way to organize everything. Same thing, for example, if I go and pick, for example, this image, this, those images here, and this one also, there are, for example, from the same phrase for Slovenia, I will go with tools, batch rename, yes, modification by default. Let's say that I want to rename in the same folder. In this case, I want to rename the place, the date. I will also rewrote, I want the year, yes. I want also to put, for example, a specific ubication, which will be, okay, this one here. And I will also put the sequence number, which will start, I want 2 digitals with 01. Perfect, perfect. This is how it looks like, long name, but what it takes and what it works. And because I didn't change the name, here it is, here it appears, yes? So it's another way how to organize everything, how to, like I said, you can also, instead of using the same space or using the same place where to save it, you can move it, copy in another way, but don't be careful not to lose the file. No, if you move it, you physically move from one part to another. If you copy, you have on the both parts. And the same thing, because I select all of the images, or also the information of the metadates, it will remain the same. And also with the keywords, depending on what you choose. Now, just to go back, the essential options. Now they have a little bit more of images. If we choose, for example, that we go from the essential, the look, to change and see how it looks like, the library, just a second, here it is. This is how the library looks, or film stripe, or output. Output, for example, is an option to prepare the output for printing, or just, for example, for a portfolio look. But don't worry, I will do this section with the camera raw, because we will go to the bridge, we will use it, so we will not lose any information. The essential, like I said, once again, is very good design, a good way and platform to use it for photography, because it's very essential, very easy to go by, and we can find everything in the best way possible. All the information, like I said, it's also in the menu, main menu part, but the main keywords that I explained in the video, I think they are very helpful to use it. Once again, remember, all the information you can find it or on the desktop that you have or on the computer by you choose the hard disk if you have the connect, then filter the image that you have. By content, you will find the information, and the preview you will choose. If it appears like this, don't worry. Always remember, normally it comes like this once the first time that you open the bridge. Just click on the preview and you will see the image. Metadata, same thing. If those things doesn't appear, for example, if I don't have some of those information, go on tools, yes, tools, go on Windows, and for example, you can click, let's say if I unclick, you see the keywords disappear. Windows, if I go on keywords panel, it appears automatically. If I don't like the position, I can change, I can put it here. And now the keywords appears here. If I want to go back, I just go back. Yeah. So I hope that it was helpful. This information about the bridge is just the essential information about the bridge, the best and quickest way to organize your material, how to go through the program, and how to batch rename, so rename the files, how to use them, how to put the label, and everything else. Like I said, there are some information about the raw files, the editing part, how to develop a raw file. Then don't worry, I will explain you in the next class. If you have any question, please, you can write on my email, wrote it on the link, whatever you want. You see, I am completely on your on the disposition to explain you, to go with the practices, whatever you need. The important part is be safe, stay safe, and I really hope that we will see you soon, so we can go person by person, explain with the classes, see all the material, whatever you need. Okay, until when we see in person, like I said, once again, stay home, stay safe, and enjoy the video. Thanks for watching. Bye.